Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by. Today we will be learning about rounding numbers. Now, to round a number means to approximate the number. Today we'll be focusing on rounding to certain numbers of significant figures and decimal places. You might have been having issues with this before now, but not to worry. By the time we are done going through this couple of questions, I think you'll be just fine. So let's get right into it. Now here we have our first question. It says write 15.0782 correct to one decimal place. Now our decimal place is relative to our decimal point. Yes, our decimal point is just the little dot that we have here. So when we say one decimal place, it means that we need to work to the very digit after the decimal point, because the first decimal place is the digit after the decimal point, and then the second one is the digit after it, and so on. So our first decimal place here, we have the digit 0. I put a slash there to help me identify this is where I'm going to stop. I shouldn't have more than this number of digits after the decimal point. So, but I need to consider the digits after it. The digits after 0 here is 7. Whenever you have the digits after the place you're working with to be more than 5, okay, you need to round up. If it is less than 5, that is 4 or less, you round down. In this case, it is more than 5, it's 7, so we round up. So rounding this number to one decimal place is going to be 15.1. All right. Now, up next, we want to round the same number to the nearest 10. Now, to round this to the nearest 10, please, you need to remember your place value when you're rounding. It is critically important that you remember your place value while rounding. Okay, so this is our 10th position. 1 is in the 10th position here. 5 is in the unit position. So if we are rounding to the nearest 10, it means this time around, our slash should be between 1 and 5. Now, remember, we consider the digit after the position we're looking at. The digit here is 5. So to round 15.078 to the nearest 10 will be what? 20. We're rounding up. Why? That digit after the place is 5. Now, to question number 2. Write 1.897 correct to 2 decimal places. Now, 2 decimal places, remember I told you for the first question, your 2 decimal places will be 2 digits after this decimal point. So our 2 decimal places will be right here. All right. Now, we have the digit after it being 7. So since the digit is 7, we need to round up. But that poses a problem because we already have 1.89. So if we're going to round up the 9, it becomes 10. And meaning we can write 10 there, we write 0, we carry 1, and then it becomes 1.90. Yes, this 0 is very important because the question has asked you to write to 2 decimal places. Even though it's a 0, it matters. If you don't put the 0, you have not written to 2 decimal places. You would have written to just 1 decimal place. All right, let's hurry along. Now, write these numbers correct to 2 significant figures. Now, when we talk about significant figures, our very first significant figure in any number is the first non-zero digit. Let me repeat that. Our first significant figure is our first non-zero digit. So in this particular number, we have 0.076499. The first non-zero digit here is 7. So right here is our first significant figure. Our second significant figure will be the 6 because that's the digit after the first significant figure. So since we have been asked to write this number correct to 2 significant figures, so we're going to put our slash here. We consider the digit after. It happens to be 4, so we round down. So this number correct to 2 significant figures will be 0.076. That's the answer there. Okay, moving on to the next one. We have 10,100. Correct to 2 significant figures. Correct to 2 significant figures. Here, our first significant figure is number 1. Our second significant figure is number 2. So we have the 2 significant figures we're looking out for. We now consider the digits after. The digit after this 0 happens to be 1. Now, since it is less than 5, we round down. But do we write 10 as our answer? No. Remember, when you're doing approximations, when we're doing rounding, it's a form of approximation. It has to be kind of close to the original number. So what we write down here is going to be 10,000. Not 10, 10,000. All right. Now, the next question says, write 0.06031 correct to two significant figures. Now, remember, your first significant figure is your first non-zero value. After that first non-zero value, every other zero is significant. Let me repeat that. After your first non-zero value, every other zero is significant. Because of that, this 0 after the 6 is significant. So we have our first significant figure as 6, the second significant figure as this 0. We put our slash there. The number after it is 3. So we end up with 0.060. Yes, the 0 after the 6 here is also important because remember, it is a significant figure. It is our second significant figure. Okay, now we are supposed to write this number correct to the nearest thousand. Remember, I said earlier that to round properly, you need to remember your place value. From place value that you learned in lower grades, you know that 4 is in the units, 6 is in the tens, 9 here is in the hundreds, and 7 is in the thousands. So the number we are looking at, the position we are looking at is right here. The number in the position we are looking at is 7. So we need to consider the digit after it. The digit after it happens to be 9. So we round up. The correct answer here is going to be 258. We're rounding up. 7 becomes 8. And we replace all the other digits with 0. Remember, your approximation, you need to make sure that the approximate value, the rounded value, is really close to the original value. That should be your test of the correctness of your answer. Now, on to question number 6. Here we have write 0.047883 correct to two significant figures. You guessed right. Our first significant figure is 4. The second one is 7. So we draw a line here. And then the digit after is 8. So the correct answer here will be 0.47. Sorry, pardon me, 0. It's going to be 0. I skipped the first 0. Okay, 0.048. That's the correct answer here. For question number 7, we have write 3.085 correct to three significant figures. The number is 3.085 correct to three significant figures. The first significant figure here is 3 because it's our first non-zero value. The second significant figure here is 0. The third significant figure here is 5. Okay, so to round this appropriately, we're going to have, and the digit after 5 is 8. So rounding this number to three significant figures will be 3.06. All right. Now for question number 8, we have 16.086 correct to two decimal places. Two decimal places will be two digits after the decimal point. So the first digit after the decimal point is 0. The second one is 8. So we draw a line here and we need to round up here. So this is going to be 16.09. 16.09. All right. So moving on to question number 9. For question number 9, we are supposed to write 3.72194 correct to three decimal places. Three decimal places will mean 7 is the first decimal place, 2, 1, and then we draw our line here, and then we have 3.722. I hope you're following so far. If you have not liked the video, please do. It's a good time to. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you. Now, aside from just writing the decimal point or significant figures. Sometimes we need to apply this knowledge in answering questions. The next couple of questions will be applying this knowledge to answer them. All right, question number 10 here says 29 parcels each have a value of $68. By writing each of these numbers correct to one significant figure, find an estimate for the total value of these 29 parcels. Now we have to write each of the digits here to one significant figure. 29 to one significant figure is going to be what? 30. And then $68 to one significant figure will be what? 70. Now, what do we do with this? They said we should find an estimate of the total value. So each one is approximately $70 and there are approximately 30 of them. So we need to multiply. So that is 30 times 70 and that is $2,100. Now we are being asked, without doing any calculations, complete the statement. The actual total value of these 29 parcels is less than the answer to part A because we rounded up. The two values in question 10A were rounded up. 29 was rounded to 30 while 68 was rounded to 70. So the reason why this value would definitely be higher than the actual value is because both values were rounded up. Both values were rounded up. All right. Now it's getting more interesting. Okay, now we've been told that by writing each number correct to one significant figure, work out an estimate for P. So P here is given by 1.6 plus 9.6 raised to power 2 divided by 5.9 minus 4.3. So remember, you need to remember your bid mass here. You have to deal with the numerator separate from the denominator before you finally divide this number. So let's round each number correct to one significant figure. 1.6 to one significant figure will be 2 plus 9.6 correct to one significant figure will be 10. All right, so we have 2 plus 10 square. Let's go to our denominator now. 5.9 to one significant figure will be 6 plus, sorry, that's a minus sign there. Minus 4.3 to one significant figure will be 4. So evaluating this, we're going to have 2 plus 100 divided by 6 minus 4 is 2. So we have 102 divided by 2, and that will give us 51. So the approximate value we're going to get by approximating each of the numbers to one significant figure is going to be 51. Now, the second part of the question is asking us to calculate the actual value of P. To calculate the actual value of P, just put it in your calculator. You could put the entire thing or you could do your numerator first and then your denominator. Either way you get it done, you're going to have 58.6. You're going to have 58.6. All right, so moving on along here, by writing each number correct to one significant figure, find an estimate for the value of this number. So again, like we did in the last question, we are going to approximate each number to one significant figure. 2.8 to one significant figure is going to be 3 times 82.6 to one significant figure. The first significant figure there is 8. So it's going to be what? 80. Remember, it's not just 8. The 8 there is in the 10th position. So if you're going to round to one significant figure, it's going to be 80. Okay, now going on to our denominator. Our denominator here, this is 27.8 to one significant figure. It's going to be what? 30. Minus 13.9 to one significant figure is going to be what? 13.9 to one significant figure is going to be 10. Okay, so we have 240 because that's 80 times 3 is 240 over 30 minus 10, that's going to be 20. So our answer here is going to be 12. Okay. This is a similar question. The difference between this question and this here is just the way the digits are arranged, just for continuous practice. Whenever you want to get better at a concept, you need to try as many questions out as possible. So that's why we're going to take the remaining 2 questions here. Okay, so question 13 is very similar. By rounding each number in the calculation correct to one significant figure, estimate the value of this number. The very first digit there is, the very first number there is 38.7. So if we're going to round that to one significant figure, it's going to be 40, because our first significant figure there is 3, and then the number after it is 8 greater than 5, so we round up. So that's going to be 40 times, this is going to be 3, divided by, this is going to be 20, minus 4 squared. All right, so we're going to have 40 times 3 is 120, divided by 20 minus 16. So 120 divided by 20 minus 16, which is a 4. So our correct answer here is going to be 30. Okay. Now, the final question we're trying here today, very similar. 27, rounding each one to one significant figure. So we have 27 as our first digit there. 27 will round up to 30, minus 2.3 will round up to one significant figure is going to be 2 raised to power 2. Okay, please remember, before you raise the power, you need to round the number itself to the given instruction. You'll notice that I didn't find 2.3 raised to power 2 first before changing it to one significant figure. No, I have to change the 2.3 to one significant figure before I apply the power. Please bear that in mind. All right, divided by 845.4 to one significant figure is going to be 800, times this to one significant figure is going to be 0.05. All right, so we're going to be having 30 minus 2 raised to power 4, 2 raised to power 2, which is 4. So this is going to be 26, divided by 800 times 0.05 is 40. So if we take this to the lowest term, we're going to be having 13 over 20, which is the same thing as 0.65. Okay, so that is that about rounding. Remember, your first significant figure is your first non-zero digit in any number. Remember also that when you're rounding, it's an approximation. It shouldn't be too far off from the original number. Thank you for watching till the very end. Please subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and watch some other videos. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or put a comment in the comment section. Thank you. See you in another one. Bye.